Tonight, we extended an invitation to the sitting governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, to come on this show on Monday. And we wanted to ask if he was considering a pardon for Daniel Perry. But for some reason, Governor Greg Abbott's office told us he just can't make it and that we should talk to the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, instead. So that is Greg Abbott's position.
I want to be really clear, despite that video being of Tucker Carlson, he's not our Monday menace. He could be, but he's not. No, it is actually Greg Abbott, because you know what Greg Abbott did after that? He did what Tucker Carlson wanted. And you can bring up this tweet of Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, says he is going to be working to pardon this guy, Sergeant Daniel Perry, who killed a protester. And we're going to give you all the details. And I want to be very clear. They don't give a damn about any of the details that we're going to describe to you. The only thing that they need to know is that he killed a protester in a BLM rally. That's what it was. And so nothing else matters at that point. He went to the rally bringing his gun. He shot and killed someone. He's the good guy. That is it. That is all the governor of one of the largest states in the country cares about. The guy, by the way, on Fox News with the biggest audience only cares about the fact that someone they code as a leftist got gunned down, thus no crime was committed. But don't just take my word, for it. I want to give you the details. So last Friday, Travis County jury found Daniel Perry, the guy that they're advocating for, guilty in the death of Garrett Foster, a 28-year-old. So police said that Perry, based at the time 70 miles north at Fort Hood, was driving in downtown Austin on the evening of July 25th in 2020 when he encountered demonstrators in the street and came to a stop. Foster was legally carrying a semi-automatic rifle, which every right-winger says is the best thing ever. You should be walking around with them constantly. There's nothing suspicious about it. When he approached the intersection where protesters had gathered, police said he was fatally shot by Perry, who stayed in a vehicle and used a handgun. Perry claimed to police that Foster, an Air Force veteran, had pointed the weapon at him, inspiring him to shoot in self-defense. Foster was pronounced dead at the hospital. So his entire claim is based on self-defense because Foster pointed the gun at him. Although I keep being told by right-wingers that having a gun, pointing a gun, there's nothing suspicious or dangerous about that. That's what patriots do. Weird how when someone, even though he's a vet, is coded as a leftist, all of a sudden it becomes an immediate signing of his death warrant. So Perry said, I didn't know he was gonna aim it at me. I thought he was gonna kill me. I've never been so scared in my life. Bear in mind, it seems pretty clear that he drove specifically to find these protesters. So bear that in mind. But anyway, this claim that Foster raised the barrel of his AK-47 is Perry's principal hope, okay? It was refuted over and over during the first 3 days of the trial by witnesses who were near Foster that night. All repeated basically the same story. They heard squealing tires as a car sped into a group of about 20 protesters. The protesters, some of whom had almost been hit by the car, slapped and kicked it. Understandably, they were almost run down. Garrett Foster strode to the car's side and issued an order to the driver. All of the witnesses insisted that Foster did not raise the barrel of his gun. According to the DA's lead prosecutor, his gun was recovered with the safety still on and no bullet in the chamber. And that is not even to get into what we will get into, which is everything that Perry had been posting on social media in the lead up to it. All of the evidence shows that his claim of self-defense was absolute nonsense. He drove into a crowd of protesters, and when one got near him with a gun, he gunned him down through the window of his car. So we're gonna get to more of this, but Francesca, what do you think?
It's a Texas jury. It's a Texas jury, and they were presented with all of this evidence, as John laid out, all of the eyewitness testimony that says that he didn't point the gun at him, and they found this dude guilty. They found Perry guilty. He murdered him, and he also went looking for trouble. Yes, right there. And so that's when the justice system actually works well, right? And it has to be beyond a shadow of a doubt, and it doesn't always work out, and it usually doesn't work out in the favor of activists and protesters who are aggressed upon, right? So let's put that aside. Then you have Tucker Carlson, right? Primetime Klansman out there calling on a politician to overturn this ruling, to exonerate him, even though he was found guilty. I mean, my God, we live in a racist nation. My God, we are run by minority rule. It wasn't enough that this jury, again, I think it was a high bar. All of these things are a high bar to clear. And the jury found him guilty. And now then you have a primetime news anchor calling on a governor. And what does the governor say? Oh, absolutely, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because I'm scoring political points against people who are protesting the massive amount of death of unarmed Black people at the hands of police. So I'm just like, it's absolutely enraging. Like, you wonder why we need a third Reconstruction. You wonder why we need a new civil rights movement. This right here, and you see that Tucker Carlson and villainous Greg Abbott, they're in the minority, but they have so much power and control. We are being run by straight up Klansmen, y'all. Like, these are the people who are in power.
Here's a crazy hypothetical. So he says that Foster raised his gun at him. Okay, that's a claim he made. Others refute it. You know who definitely raised his gun? Perry. So Perry raised his gun. If Foster had then shot him to death with his AK-47, does anyone think that Tucker Carlson would be like, oh no, stand your ground? This is Texas. This Texas is what patriots do. Does anyone think that Governor Abbott would be trying to vacate the sentence? Kind of doubt it.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.